Heyo, it's me, Hyper Savage, and it is week 2 of Fungurary, and the prompt is Fairytale. So we gotta get out my sketchbook and see what we have planned. The last time we worked on the decay prompt, and this time let's see what we got. So, looks like I have it partially covered, but it's not really that important. So for Fairytale, these are the mushrooms that were recommended we use, including an amethyst deceiver mushroom. And that kind of got me thinking about crystals and stuff, so I kind of ran with that idea for most of my, well, for all of the thumbnailing I did. The first thumbnail I did was like a crystal shaped like a mushroom with like fairies and surrounded by other crystals, all within a purpley hue. Another idea was like having a person that was crystallized and kind of growing mushrooms out of them. And for the third idea was someone like a creature, a fantasy person type thing, like a fairy, trapped in a crystal surrounded by mushrooms, like in a cave or some kind. Now, I am really digging the idea of having like an amberized or Zeldified character in a crystal, but I think I don't have enough time to do a whole character, so I'm leaning towards the crystal mushroom idea. It's basically the same idea, but instead of a character in the middle, it's a mushroom that's like a crystal mushroom. And I'll still add some fairies in for fun. So let's turn to a blank page and get started on the sketch. Why the page not turning? My sketchbook is getting really puffy on this side. All right, I got my pencil and eraser. Let's get to sketching. So I guess the real question is, how many do I want to be crystallized? Like, I should make some look like the amethyst mushroom. Maybe make this one flatter, like it's about to curl upward. Gosh, I'm sketching so lightly. Can you even see? Maybe I'll just do it a little bit darker for you guys. I think I'll have them like growing out of a crystal too. Don't worry, they're not going to be so smooth looking. I'm just putting the shapes down to start with. Like, I want them to look like they are made of crystal themselves. It's just, I'm not sure how I'm going to work it together. So I think I could do the round ones just fine. It's going to be like these inside out ones that I'm going to have a problem with, I think. Should it be more like pointed? Like the crystal is expanded upward instead of being round? Like, I'm trying to put logic on crystal mushrooms. Yeah, I like that. It looks more like a flower now, but hopefully it's still reading as a mushroom near the other mushrooms. But if it doesn't, that's still okay. We still got like regular looking mushrooms. I really wanted there to be more gill action with the upturned mushrooms, but maybe we'll have other opportunities to draw on the gills on other Fungurary weeks. Like a darker outline on the mushrooms so I can tell them apart from the background. Well, from background foreground crystals. Obviously, we have to add more crystals. Maybe we have like a little baby one down here. I'm considering adding another mushroom into this mix here. I'm thinking about the bleeding fairy helmet one, I think is what it's called. That one looks like it mostly grows on trees, so I'm like, well, I'll just draw a tree around this, and maybe this could be under a tree or something, and I'm like, or wouldn't just spawn under a tree. I mean, again, I'm trying to apply logic to something fantasy here. But then I was thinking, well, maybe it's like the roots of a tree we can see, and it's like in a pocket of a cave or something underground. What do we think? What do we think? I think I gotta see it first. Man, it's like a little pocket that maybe only the fairies really know about. That's why they're hanging out in this scene, you know what I mean? This looks inappropriate. Let me just erase that. I like that idea, but I think I drew this too big to like really have the whole thing. Again, we had that problem last time where I drew it too big. Like another root twisting around it, I guess. Making it look like it's weird legs. Like, do I want the whole ground to be like crystal? Like, what do I want to happen in this little pocket cave? I guess is what I'm calling it. Maybe we could put like other hints of crystals in the background here. Like have some roots growing along the wall here too. This give me some light root vibes, not gonna lie. Didn't we already make a Zelda reference? And I'm gonna do it again. Okay, now for the fairies. Oh my god, there's so much Zelda happening here. I'm just gonna draw a bunch of these little cone-ish shapes here. So I erased the fairies for right now, because I think I want to focus on the mushrooms, and then I'll add them in later. I feel like this is really big. I might downsize the, like, focal point here, because I feel like these mushrooms are really tiny compared to that crystal. I'm like, a crystal that big? That's crazy. It's not impossible. Especially if it's like amethyst. I know that's not the most expensive rare crystal out there, so. Okay, I definitely like want to flare up here and like one over here, one down here. I'm drawing them smaller than what I had them too. I don't want perfect diamond of 4 though, is the thing. Maybe one over here. I think I'm done with the sketching. So let's get it onto my iPad. All right, I got it all set up on my iPad here. So let's get started. So like last time, I cut out most of the sketching and only showed what I modified for the final sketch look. I got right into line art. My process is like the same every time I do another sketch so I can tweak things, and then I start working on the line work, and then I do the flat colors, and then I do shading and highlights, and then I add the extra flavor. So that's why I'm having such a hard time doing voiceovers for these things, because there's only so many times I can explain the same process and it being entertaining. But for this part, I outlined the main mushrooms and crystals with a thicker stroke than the rest of the lines, just so I could tell the difference. They do end up getting a little lost in the sauce, though, at the end when everything is colored, you'll see. So I wish I had made the line even thicker around the mushroom crystal parts, but I didn't notice until, you know, I was already done, so. And let's not forget, she came and sat in the background for, I think, most of it after a while. There was a chunk, I think, at the end where he did leave, because I had actually taken like an extended break in the middle of recording this, because you can't stare at a screen for that long, and this was like a 4-hour process. Despite me choosing what I was considering the simpler of my concept thumbnail arts, it still took almost as long as Decay from last week. It's alright. I do like the result in the end though, so I want to say it's worth my time, but I still did not manage to get this video recorded and edited in a timely manner. I'm still working on catch-up and stuff. It's not easy because I took on this Fungurary project. I think if I hadn't, I would have been able to catch up a lot sooner, but digital art just takes a lot longer for me to do, like recording-wise for some reason. I was adamant about it being digital art because last year's was all digital art, and I really want to put more digital art stuff on my channel because I'm not just a traditional artist. I do a lot of digital work, and also it's easier to make your stuff into prints when it's already on the computer and you don't have to deal with the scanner. There are very few illustrations I've done where I'm like, I want to scan this in and sell it as an art print from my traditional library. Like, there's way more digital arts that I would rather have as prints. I'm just having a hard time because I'm not doing them in the print ratio. I'm doing them in like paper ratio, like 8.5 by 11, because I'm thinking about my coloring book while I'm doing this, because I want things to be quick and easy for when I release another coloring book if I already have some images done. Doesn't that make any sense? Like with my first coloring book, everything came from Inktober, so I had to redraw everything like digitally. But I already have some stuff drawn digitally. It won't take me as long to make another coloring book. Does that make sense? Needless to say, hopefully in the future there'll be like a mushroom coloring book I'm gonna release. I have quite a few different themes in mind for coloring books. I'm not sure if the mushroom one would be next in line or not, mostly because the last 2 coloring books have been like nature themed, and I just don't want people to get tired of that, even though that's like what I draw the most of. So it's like a part of my style, really. So I did go ahead and I cut out quite a bit of this process this time, because it was like 30 minutes by the time I cut out all the normal stuff I cut out. And I'm trying to get closer to 20 minutes. So I just cut out some repetitious things. It's mostly in these very... No, I did not talk to you, Siri. Okay. It's mostly in the bleeding fairy helmets where I cut out the process, because like they're not like symmetrical, but it's like kind of symmetrical. So I can cut out what I do on one half from this process, because it's the same exact thing. The mushrooms are just facing a different way. I just didn't want the video to be too long and too boring of the same thing over and over again. Oh, and just so you know, when I started to record this video, it was not midnight this time. It was earlier, but by the time I got to editing it, it was midnight. So I was up really late working on this, and I'm doing the voiceover the next day because I was too tired to even finish the editing. And then I had to go back and watch everything I did edit because I was falling asleep the whole time. So I missed quite a lot of things like dead space that needed to be cut out. So there was almost no point in editing the night before, but it's okay. We're getting through it. But I really like the texture I use on the moss. I think I used it in Fungurary last year, which is what reminded me to do it. I was gonna draw out like edges on the moss, but I thought it looked better without any like hard lines on the edge. And that way it could be a bit more random looking. And honestly, when we get to the background, I kind of was stumped on what to do because I didn't know if I should put like a line where the background meets the floor. Like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do because I said it was a cave, but I didn't really draw any rocks other than the crystals to make it look like a cave. And I'm like, I don't know if trees can actually grow straight into rocks. I think they would probably grow in between them, like their roots and stuff, which I mentioned that this is like an underground pocket where we see like the roots of the tree. So really supposed to be dirt and like stuff around. But again, I was trying to put logic on something that's like made up in fantasy because I don't really like that I didn't put any kind of other rock around it because you don't really find ore laying in grass. I could be wrong. Like, I'm under the impression it's in rocks. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I think I did color this a little bit differently than I normally do in the order, not necessarily like how I colored, because I stayed on each thing, I guess. Like the mushrooms I did from start to finish, and then I moved on to like the next thing and did like the wood start to finish. I normally like try to put everything at the same step. But it was interesting seeing completely finished areas with non-finished areas. Like, I thought it was fun to watch it like kind of like come to life slowly instead of step by step. Does that make sense? Probably not. But the best part, finally, when we start coloring in the crystals. Honestly, it was a really long and tedious process. So it wasn't my favorite when I was tired, but normally coloring in crystals is one of my favorite things to do. Whether it's traditionally or digitally. I think digitally it doesn't take quite as much time because I can like blend the colors together quicker. But traditionally I feel like I can just color it better. I don't know how to explain that either. Also, because it's like underneath something and the crystals end up being glowy, I wasn't sure where a light source would be, and you know how crystals reflect light crazy anyways. So I was just like, I'm just gonna color this in a way that looks good to me, not necessarily following any kind of real life rules here, which is what I should have applied to everything else when I was trying to make logic happen for something made up. And I kind of do regret not putting a bit more purple back into them because I don't have a whole lot left. And they were supposed to be based off of the Amethyst Deceiver mushroom. But that's okay because we managed to get that other mushroom in, so I figured it worked out. I'm not gonna lie, I did have a hard time with the shines because I just didn't really know what direction to put some of them in some of the time. So I don't think I have much more to say about this, so I'll just leave you guys to some music for the rest of it. Hopefully I talked enough so it's not super long of a time lapse for you guys with like nothing happening. But I'll see you guys at the end. Okay, I think that will do. All right, I'm all done. I like how it turned out. I feel like it's not super fairy tale looking, but still close enough, right? And I think some of the mushrooms did get a little lost in the cluster here, but still really cool, in my opinion. But that is going to be it for me today. If you guys want to check out Fungurary from last year, you could tap the playlist here. If you want to catch up on anything you missed, you could tap the thumbnail here. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do all the cool YouTube things of commenting, liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!